Only a few hours before election day, the prognosis from ethnic Burmese communities remains grim, with armed groups preparing for increased conflict following elections. The latest reports from inside Myanmar indicate that the UN Solidarity and Development Party, USDP, has already secured 30% of the seats in the parliament through advance voting. Meanwhile, ethnic armed groups are holding talks in northwest Thailand over strategies and tactics in case of a full-fledged attack by the military. Representatives from the Karen community, one of the largest ethnic minority groups, explain that 50% of their population is unable to vote in these polls. The current administration has cited that these areas are unfit for free and fair elections. Additionally, the ethnic groups fear full-scale attacks by the military that would result in a new wave of refugees and IDPs.
They will fight against them, and not only fight against those resistant groups, but also targeted civilians, which they have been doing for many years.
NGO workers who have just returned from eastern Myanmar, where they work with the Karen community, explain the atmosphere in these remote regions.
Firstly, people don't have any belief that it's going to make any difference to their lives. It doesn't affect them, especially in areas where they've been banned from voting. And that as part of this push to centralise centralise the economy and centralise all power structures in the country, the regime will be pushing next on their agenda to wipe out their leaders, who in all honesty have provided them with healthcare, education and relief for 6 decades now.
While those working with the minority communities do not rule out large-scale fighting, they explain that the intimidation tactics of the SPDC will not work in practice.
The ethnic armies know that they're too strong for the SPDCs just to wipe them all out.
Analysts comment that the regime will attempt to rein in the different ethnic groups, but will also try to avoid large-scale conflict.
Burmese military strategy is pressure, divide and rule, show of force. But, of course, the fighting will be the last resort.
The military regime has stated that unless the armed forces agree to become part of the border guard force, they will be considered a security threat. Ever since the formation of the state in 1948, they've sought greater autonomy from the central government and their own representation. Despite consistent warnings that lack of communication between the military and ethnic leaders will lead to escalated conflict after elections, there has been no engagement so far. Preethi, Press TV, Northern Thailand.